Hello and welcome back. This next video is on shielding. What is shielding? Shielding is something we do naturally. However, you can also do this on purpose. Why do we need shielding? Sometimes we deal with stressful situations, hospital visits, funerals, elderly retirement homes, toxic people in our lives, friends, family, people on the street. There are multiple normal reasons for shielding, but there are also the more common abnormal ones. I shield when I lucid dream. I shield when I astral project. Whenever I have to link to someone, I'm shielding. I'm shielding 24/7. I have a cloak on 24/7 because sometimes I'm just too intense to be around ungloved. So I'm going to mention everything here in this first beginner's guide video, but I am going to let you know that I am going to do an advanced shielding video. So I'm going to kind of mention things here, but there's only the easy beginner stuff is something I'm going to discuss in depth in this video. Shielding consists of many different kinds of shields. There's filters, there's cloaking, as I've just mentioned, there's reactive shields, defensive shields, offensive shields, shields for even just manipulating your own energy. Sometimes we have to keep things cycling or we get stagnation. And so there's also things like quick shields, and they can be there quickly, but that takes a lot of time to do. And you kind of have to do some psychic curling, to really get that to stick and not be exhausting. Another thing that makes shielding exhausting is that you kind of have to think about it all the time, and the moment you go to sleep, it's gone, which means that you have to house some sort of power from outside your body, which usually goes into energy constructs, stones, linking to outside energy sources, plants, nature, forces of nature, storms. Even I've heard people anchoring to the moon before. So those are all different kinds of shields and energy sources besides yourself, because just putting layer upon layer upon layer gets to be very tedious, and it can be quite heavy. The biggest mistake I see with people who are just getting into shielding is I see these colossal shields. Sort of like, I think it was Matrix 3, where they had these giant Borgs that they would fight the robotic sentinels with, where I can literally hear people go across wherever, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, this guy's Hulk. And you literally hear like, doosh, 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 like everywhere they go. It's like, God, could you be louder? Could your energy be bigger? This is entirely unnecessary. You can have all that impact and still be skin tight. I know people that are wrapped like cellophane. Their shields are skin tight. They aren't necessarily to keep people out, but to keep themselves in. So, with all of that aside, you need to start with grounding when you first start to learn to shield, or your basic steps. Later on, you don't have to go through these steps. You can just access a quick shield, or even a piece of jewelry. When you put it on, it helps you remember to make that shield, or helps you power that shield. Sort of like psychic armor. But grounding is the first step. Grounding is pushing excess energy into the ground. Sort of like if you have roots of a tree. Is that when you are assailed with a lot of data, a lot of emotions, a lot of energy. People don't always know that they're projecting that. I have a huge problem myself when I'm angry. My shields come down, and people are like, whoa, you just got too intense for me. And I could be saying something very little. I could simply be saying, I don't like that. And people were just like, I want to go home. You know, people will literally leave the room. They're just like, I'm out of here. I'm not having her blow up on me. And I'm like, I'm not going anywhere, guys. It's just my shields come down. There's a difference. Is that me angry makes my shields come down. It didn't make me vibe any more or any less. The barrier was just gone because I stopped thinking about it because I got upset. Huge miscommunication with people is that at that point I should probably be grounding. So when you think about grounding, you want to bring it in, bring it down. A good example of this is the as above, so below, is that a lot of times naturally, even with Christianity, when people pray and they're completely devoted to prayer, that you'll find that they will dissolve into their faith, and sometimes usually they're on the ground by then, and they're on their knees and they're praying so hard, their faith literally grounds them, and their prayers are put such force towards the heavens, is that is their as above, so below. So when you think about grounding, try to think up like that. You know, you're grounding here, is that you're attached to both ends. Like you have a string coming out of your head. Also, usually in those kinds of situations where you have to ground and you're like, and you're really trying to focus, and you'll start to get heavy. That's how you know you need to start balancing upwards. And then comes centering. As centering is gathering all your forces. You know, take everything about you that's been scattered and pull it into your core. When people do things like psi balls and things like that, sometimes they'll push out towards their hands. This is an inward force, which is why some people actually pull or form sigils over their stomach and their solar plexus. Getting into shielding, I have pufferfish. I have some notes down here. Is that you don't necessarily want to create a shield out of your head or out of a chakra, unless it's your root chakra, but you want to be pretty even. Is that if this is your being, you really want to inflate evenly. When I have to cast shields manually, I tend to take a step forward or take a step back. That way I can get under my feet. Is that I will pick up one, pick up the other. And you tend to want to go about a foot in each direction, a foot above you, a foot below you, 2 feet to the side. I heard once that like Jesus had an aura of like a foot in length, like a foot away from his body, that people could literally see how big it was. That's pretty much what we're trying to create here. A lot of people like the egg shape. However, you don't want to make this as hard as an eggshell because an eggshell cracks. You want this to be more like Jello, kind of flexible. My mother described shielding as a inhale and enveloping yourself, and an exhale and blowing it out, to literally inflate from inside you. Like, and she always said pure white light. She recommended pure, blinding, like fry your retinas, pure white light. Go mom. Which would be perfectly accurate as a great easy beginner shield. However, you don't want to be doing this at night. You look like nothing but a lighthouse in the middle of the night, and everything can see you. Every predator that there ever was at night that's awake can see you in this giant spotlight moving around in the dark. Is that at night you want to make something that's darker, maybe like a nice indigo blue, navy blue, forest green. I would really stay away from the darker colors. You may actually attract more negative energy. But that is the basics I'm getting in this video at the moment. I'm trying to cut down on my time. If you have any questions, I will answer them in the next video. List them in the comments below. And if this video was helpful to you, please hit the like button and subscribe. I've gotten 10 new subscribers since my last video. Mwah! Thank you so much. I can't believe I took like a month-long hiatus and I'm still getting subscribers. That's wonderful news to me. I think that's everything I can cover. Oh, look. That definitely signals the end of this video. They're pressure washing the concrete again. They're pressurizing the concrete outside. I can't make videos with you pressurizing the concrete! Waiting for them to stop pressuring the concrete. I'm crazy because you're pressuring the concrete.